So for the last 7 days, I've been trying Sunsama, and it actually turned into more like 14 plus days. And what I wanted to do today is share my experience, the pros, the cons, and just a general overview of what I thought about the application. Now, this video isn't sponsored by Sunsama. My views are my own, but we do have a Sunsama affiliate link. So if you did want to check it out, it will be in the link in the description. And as you can imagine, we do this with most of the tools we review. But I'm really keen on making this a fair and balanced review per normal. So let's start with the pros. And I wanted to start with how I actually am using to-do list applications at the moment. So previously I was using Todoist, where obviously I could organize my day ahead. And I was more recently using it with Google Calendar to help me do a methodology known as time blocking. Now, of course, what I found is that with Google Calendar and Todoist, the integration works great, but it was more manual work than, say, something like this. So naturally, I wanted to try this out and give you my thoughts on it as well as sort of an overall experience. So one thing I liked about Sunsama was the Kanban view, the ability to see all of your week ahead in one view. And that was actually quite helpful, particularly as well because you don't necessarily have to see that week view, but you can use this thing called focus mode where you actually zoom into the day or into the particular task you're working on. That's something I really liked because I could start a timer and just start working on a task and also take breaks without any distraction. Now, one thing that is probably Sunsama's key feature is the ability to plan. Now, obviously inside of Todoist, you don't get planning as a sort of feature. They sort of just naturally, like most to-do list applications, let you free into the wild. But with Sunsama and some of these daily planner applications, they sort of hold your hand with some onboarding to help you get set up on a particular day or week ahead. And in Sunsama, what I liked is the fact that when you press plan, it sort of asks you a bunch of questions, helps you move your day around, adds in the relevancy, and helps you to plan that day in a more fixed manner. And I quite like that. Now, I actually didn't use some of or all of the functions, but I found that the weekly objectives feature was pretty cool, and I only found that in my second week. And the reason why I liked that is because there was a function inside of the view which allows you to see these like purple targets, and anything with a purple target is related to your weekly objectives. So you could see at a glance what tasks actually are making an impact to what you want to collectively get done in the week. So I quite like that. I quite liked it inside of features like Time Stripe, the ability to sort of have a holistical view of what you're aiming towards for that week or month ahead. Now, other things I liked was the fact that the Google Calendar connected my personal and my work Gmail calendar, which was quite helpful because, to be honest, being able to see them together is a lifesaver. Now, let's take a look at the cons. Now, obviously, using this application, it does come with some natural sort of, it changes because you're going from something like Todoist, which is a more manual to-do list application, to one that sort of handholds you and naturally sort of gives you more prompts. The one thing I'd say is, I don't know whether this is a bug, but there was a minor frame drop when going between tasks and calendar mode. I'm not sure whether they fixed this bug yet as I'm doing this video. However, I found that this was only 1 or 2 seconds, but it was just a little bit sort of slow with it. I don't think it's something that would put me off from the experience, but it just was something to note. Now, talking about sort of the development of this application, they do have mobile applications, and it's quite weird getting the mobile application because it's only available through test flight on iOS versions. I'm not too sure. I think it's available on the Google testing, but you have to sign up to test flight and be able to get access to the mobile application, which for some people can be a little bit of a pain point. And the mobile application isn't necessarily anything special. You can see all of your tasks, all of your backlog and things like that, but it's nothing too incredible. It's more of a viewer mode, which, to be honest, for me wasn't too bad because I spend most of my time on my desktop when I work, try not to touch my phone. So having the mobile application wasn't vital, but at the same time was quite handy when I'm on the go. So the mobile application wasn't anything special. Meeting notes is again something I didn't use as much. I'll explain why nearer the end, but at the same time, I found using the meeting notes a little bit more difficult just because of the way that the discussions and action points created new headers, which I found a little bit counterintuitive. But again, that might have been my experience. And again, I don't have as many meetings as most people. Now, as you can imagine, one thing that I liked inside of Todoist across my day was the ability to capture stuff on a routine basis. They do have this feature called backlog, which allows you to capture stuff, but I never found it as smooth and fast as being able to do it inside of Todoist. But naturally, Todoist does have a fantastic experience for capturing, so I'm living up to big standards here. But capturing was never as fast, and that's something that's pretty vital when it comes to work. I always like that snappy functions. But maybe I'm missing a feature. Maybe they do have something on Mac that makes it a little bit easier to do that. Okay, so looking at this overall, now, obviously, I've been using this. I said I was using this for 7 days. I actually turned it to more like 20 days. And what I would say is during that period of time, I have had more focused work sessions. And I think that's because of the planning function. And it forces you to use a time blocking and sort of gets you into that methodology of deep work. So collectively, I have actually had more focused work sessions and overall less meetings because it not forces you, but it pushes you more to get that stuff done in a focused setting versus actually stuffing your calendar with meetings, which in my eyes, I quite like. Now, I'm actually in sort of a dilemma because I quite like the way Sunsama does things, and mainly because it sort of handholds you during some experiences. And obviously, I'm in a bit of a dilemma because I still use Todoist for my personal stuff, but I wouldn't see myself using both Sunsama and Todoist together because I wouldn't necessarily embed my Sunsama use with personal because I'd probably just want to keep it for work. So I'm in a little bit of a dilemma in sort of situational how I would still continue to use Todoist and Sunsama together and how that would affect the amount of stuff I'm using at one time. So at the moment, I'm going to carry on using it as I go. There are some smaller things that I'm getting used to, but overall, I'm finding the experience pretty good. And in particular, when it comes to trying to switch off and switch on, that's one thing I did like about the experience is you do have not just planning abilities, but you have shutdown abilities. So you can switch off from work. And it's nice because it comes up really big on the screen, done for the day. So obviously that screen comes up and it's quite clear that you're not going to work on anything else. And I like that you can plan ahead as well too. So obviously some good and bad things there, but naturally, hopefully it gave you more of an idea for yourself on whether Sunsama is right for you. Anyway, folks, a big thank you. Hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, hit the thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit subscribe. It'd be great to have you here in the Keep Productive community. Anyway, folks, thank you very much. And I'll talk to you all very soon.